Ta-da! Good morning, pot pickers. It is Sarah Tag here, live from her box room. Sorry, studio. So I don't know what the weather is like where we all are, but let's just say this is the best place we could possibly be. Again, let's hope the connection stays okay today. Seems to have been better the last couple of days since they did some work. So fingers crossed we'll be okay. If we're not, go onto playlists and find yourself a program from that. But I'm hoping we're okay today. So what are we going to need? We're going to need to make sure that you're totally well, not feverish or feeling out of sorts. If you are, switch off, come back to this when you're feeling better. We are going to need our drink, but again, you can drink afterwards. We're going to need a set of dumbbells or tins or bottles of water. Now, I've got some varying weights. I'm starting to build up a little collection of varying weights, but if you've just got one weight, that's absolutely fine. The essential thing is that you don't have a set of weights that's too heavy for everything. So I tend to have a set for the lower body and a set for the upper body because slightly weedy here, better here. Now, the other thing we're going to be needing are these resistance bands. So have a little check of it while I'm talking. Just make sure there's no wear and tear or little tears that's going to mean it snaps on you. Otherwise, we've got a chair if you need it. It's not essential, but I'm going to use it for some of those dumbbell sit to stands, but we can do it without the chair. We need a nice space to work in, decent pair of shoes on your feet, and both eyes open. Don't worry if they're not quite yet. We'll sort it out in the warm-up. So we're going to take the feet hip width apart. It's a really damp day today. So let's start with a really nice warm-up. We'll start up with the neck and shoulders. So we'll start with rolling these shoulders. We're just going to roll them up to the ears and back down. Really simple movement. Really simple movement, but so effective. I think sometimes exercise and movement is so simple, we think it can't possibly work to help with our various aches and pains, but it does. It's amazing. So we're just going to take one more little shoulder roll, and then we're just going to relax those arms. We're just going to shake it out a little bit. So see if you can relax a little bit. Sometimes we hold ourselves really like this at the start. And then we're going to stand nice and tall, long spine. And we're going to start with that little movement, just dropping that chin down towards the chest. We're going to lift that head up and see if you can just keep those shoulders nice and relaxed. I'm just going to show you from another angle because I always want to do this as I do that. So try and just let that chin move. Let's see if we can do one more, just letting that chin drop gently, not pushing it too far. And then we're going to look to your right and we're just gently turning that head one way, coming back to center. And we're going to do that again. So we're just going to turn that chin, keep the shoulders nice and relaxed, come back to center. And then we're just going to move the feet a little bit and hold it still. Now drop that chin down to the chest again. And again, you're looking for that point of tension where the body says that's enough. Same as we turn the head. We're not pushing past that point. We're just coming back to center and we're really relaxing with it. And when the body's relaxed, it sort of says, oh, okay, you can go. And then we'll come back. But it'll tense up if you think you're trying to push it into injury area. So we're going to come back to center. We're just going to move those feet a little bit. Let's have a little think about what we're doing today. So what is the aim of this session? What is functional strength? So this is strength for those muscles and they're supporting structures. And the reason we call it functional, it's designed to help you live well. It's designed for everyday living. Okay, I'm not going to get you ready for a CrossFit championship, but this is going to help everyday movements, whatever it is, whether it's gardening, golf, tennis, kitchen, whatever it is, housework, shopping, walking, it's going to make those movements easier because we're going to make the muscles stronger, which means the joints are going to be supported. We've also got a nice bit of joint movement, range of movement work within that. It's also very good for bone density. So if anyone's on medications that affect your bone density, strength work is really useful. Okay, we're going to slow those feet down. Let's see now if we can make some circles with these elbows. So a little bit like those shoulder rolls, but we're just circling those elbows backwards. And then one at a time, we're going to circle them forwards. That's it. That's good. So getting a nice bit of range in these shoulders. Lovely. And then we're going to relax the arms. We're going to take some little taps forwards. We're going to push that big toe down towards the floor. So while we're doing this, we can focus on these. It's almost like a corset-like structure that you've got underneath the skin. And there's a lot of muscles there just allowing that stability of the spine, keeping everything in line. So we're going to think about just gently tightening that corset. I sometimes talk about tightening the belt a couple of notches, but we're just going to draw in that corset. Not so hard you can't think about anything else, about a third of your maximum. So just a couple of notches tighter. And then we're going to bring these feet in. We're going to take those little taps out to the side, and we're going to use that corset to keep this body nice and long. Yes, beautiful corsets. I don't think I've ever worn one, but I'm just imagining, okay? I'm just imagining. And then we're going to bring those feet in, and we're just going to take a little tap behind us. See if you can squeeze those bottom muscles as you do that. So if we squeeze the bottom muscles, we avoid sort of overusing that lower back. So try not to throw that chest forward at the same time. You can just let those arms swing a little bit. Good. All right, then let's bring those feet in. Let's take that little jogger's pedal. So let's give those ankles a nice warm up. Let's give the calf muscles a nice warm up. That's good. Great stuff. All right, standing nice and tall. So how are we feeling now? I'm starting to wake up a little bit. I had to run downstairs and run back out because I was feeling a bit sleepy earlier. I didn't want to just inflict that on you. All right, then. So we'll bring the heels down. So we're going to take the feet just a little bit wider. Let's think about that lower back warm up, shall we? So we're going to keep that chest nice and open. Again, think about that corset, and then just gently lift that rib cage up and over. So it's that sideways movement. Good work. All right. So I remember listening to someone once, and they said, just imagine that you're tracing the seam of your seam of your trouser with your third finger. And it's quite a nice sort of thing to just think about doing, but try not to lean forwards or backwards. So this is that lovely warm up for the lower back. Now let's bring you all the way up, and let's just see if we can circle these hips a little bit. So small circles to start with. And if you had a pencil in your tailbone, which none of us do, well, if you do, well done. And we're just going to make some little circles one way, and then we're changing direction, and we're going to go the other way. Now let's do that again. Let's change direction, and you may find you've eased off a little bit and you can circle a little bit bigger. But again, listen to your body. It's what it's all about. We've got to pace ourselves one step at a time. So let's take it the other way. All right. And then we're going to come back to center. We're just going to soften those knees. And when we do that, just avoid doing that. So just keep that bottom in a little bit. Doesn't have to be uncomfortable, but just try not to arch that back. Let's bring those arms underneath the chest. Now relax the shoulders, and we're going to take that little twist one way, and we're going to come back to center. Now imagine those headlights on those hip bones. Remember that the lights are shining on that wall in front of you. We're going to bring a little bit of this movement into the main workout today. So if you have any issues with bone density in your spine, or you're not sure, we can just get you to do a very small range with this, just like we do in the warm-up. Good. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to just relax those arms, and we're going to just see if we can let those hips go, but just make sure you're not going to swing those arms into anything, because when the arms are nice and relaxed, it tends to really hurt if you hit anything. Okay, so just be careful of what's around you. If you're not sure, just keep those arms nice and tucked in. But we're just getting a little bit of movement around those hips, and you can see my opposite foot is pivoting. Good. All right, bring it back in. Walk those feet back in. And let's see if we can bring some little knee lifts in. So we're really getting these hips warmed up, aren't we? We're going to warm up those hip flexors. That's great. So we've really warmed up here. What we're going to do now is a bit of dynamic flexibility for the hip flexors. So if you need something for balance, just hold onto that wall, and we're going to take a slightly bigger tap behind us than we did earlier. And we usually do this for calf flexibility, but I want you to think about in terms of opening up these hips. So if these aren't flexible enough, the lunging and actually the sit to stand, the squats becomes really challenging because we can't get the right angles. So let's really think about keeping some flexibility work here. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? I decide what we do. Now, what we're going to do next is think about the calves. So not quite such a big step, but we're going to start pressing the heel to the floor, pressing that heel down to the floor. Good. So I'm a big fan of where we can, doing our flexibility work before a session as a moving beast. Okay, so that's where we're not pushing too hard with it, just gently pressing that heel to the floor and bringing it up. Good. So should we take a march on the spot? Let's take a march on the spot. And what we're going to do now, while those feet are moving, we're just going to take a little push forwards. We're going to pull these arms back. So we're going to warm up the chest, the shoulders, and the upper back. So we're going to push away, and we're going to draw it back. Good. We're going to push, and we're going to draw it back. Now with one arm, we're going to see if we can push up, bring it back down, only as far as you feel comfortable. Push up, pull it back down. We're going to push up, and we're going to pull it back down. Should we try both arms together? Up and bring it down. And then we're just going to roll those shoulders. And we're going to think about taking those taps out to the side again. Good. So are we feeling a bit looser? Are we feeling a bit more mobile? I know I am. A little bit more awake. Great stuff. So while we're taking these taps, we're going to make a fist. And then we're just going to really stretch out those hands as we come down. So we're going to make a fist, bring it up into that bicep curl. And we're going to just open out those fingers, stretch those fingers out. Make a fist. This time we're going to push out, stretch those fingers out, push into the palms of those hands, bring it in. And we're going to do the same again. Just push away from center, stretch it out, bring it in. We've got one more there. Let's do one more, shall we? Push. Stretch those fingers to the ceiling, push into the palms of those hands, bring it in, and we're just going to roll those shoulders. Lovely. Okay, so while we're there, let's come over that same shoulder with that hand. Give yourself a nice pat on the back, okay? And we're going to release. Let's do the same on this side. So over that shoulder, nice big pat on the back. Great stuff. Let's do it again, either side. So not pushing into pain. I've got my feet moving, but you don't have to. Great stuff. And again, that's lovely. And then we're going to steady those feet. We're going to think about opening that chest. Said, if Val's with you, just be careful of her. Okay, opening out that chest, just drawing those shoulder blades together. Lovely. Opening out that chest and bringing it in. And you might find you can take it a little bit further. When we're doing this, keep those shoulders nice and relaxed. We tend to do that. Okay, remember that chin drawn to the back of the neck. Lovely. Now bring it down. We're going to bend the knees into a little mini squat. We're going to breathe in and could you tell what that was? It was a breath out. Breathe in. Just as we bend those knees, make sure they're bending in line with that second toe. Good. So it's just a little mini knee bend. I'm going to show you from this angle. Good. So we're coming down and I'm just dropping that bottom behind those heels very gently. And then we're going to bring it down. Good. Just see if we can bring those hands behind you. That's it. Just draw the shoulders away from the ears and then let's shake it out. Let's shake it out. Okay, I'm looking at my watch. I've kept you very long into this warm-up. So let's do a little bit of flexibility for the backs of these thighs. Now, if I was going to do this dynamically, sometimes I do it, we do the toe taps, but what I'm going to do today is just do that static hold, not pushing too far. Okay, my hamstrings aren't the greatest at the moment. So I'm going to be very careful and I'm going to be very careful of yours. Great stuff. Blame it on the dog this time. Good. Now, Let's see if we can take those knee bends. Now, I know that not everyone is comfortable doing this movement. So if you're not, just get as much knee bend as you feel comfortable while having these knees pointing down towards the floor, okay? Otherwise, we're just going to squeeze the heel. There's a twofold thing going on here. We're actually having to lengthen the front of the thigh muscles as we use the back of the thigh. So I'm using this as a bit of flexibility for the front of the thigh, mobility for the knee joints. Good, let's add a bicep curl. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then we're going to bring it down into that little pedal, one heel at a time. Okay, I'm just going to have a look at my list, just check we've warmed up for everything we're going to be doing. I think we have. One more thing I want to practice is this squat technique before we go into the main section. So I've got my feet hip width apart, maybe slightly wider. If I decide I want to go wider again, that's a bit too wide to me, but you can do it. You're just going to need to take those toes ever so slightly outwardly, because as we bend, we want these knees bending always in alignment with the big toe or that second toe. Okay, so let's see if we can imagine, I'm going to put that chair there. If you were sitting down, we wouldn't be sitting down like this. So let's imagine we're pushing your bottom right to the back of the chair, but we're not going there. All right, so I'm just practicing my technique. And what I love, having a chair there, it's almost like there's something to aim for. Good. Now, if you want a bit of help with these arms, they can balance you out. You can pull them down, pull you back up. Okay, weight through the heels. And of course, once you've got used to that movement, you don't have to use that chair at all. All right, walk it out, my friends. Okay, how do we feel? Do we feel ready to rumble? Let's do one more thing. I'm just going to reach up to the ceiling. I'm just going to take a little movement there, bring it down. I'm going to reach up, make sure you're breathing out. Lovely. Okay, we are ready to rumble. That is a warm-up extraordinaire, and we're raring to go. So the first thing we're going to be doing is some leg strength using those squats. I'm going to be using some light weights for them. So have a drink. If you need a comfort break, have a comfort break. We're going to need weights and a band for the first sort of set, but there'll be plenty of time. So I'm going to press the music on. And I'm going to give you about a minute to get yourself ready. I've just got the music quite lightly on. Do you know what? There's no point messaging me. I can't see without my glasses. We'll have to sort it out again. If you want me to play the music louder in the future, just let me know. Now, I'm going to be using some slightly heavier weights because I'm going to be using them for leg strength. Okay, so I'm going to place them there. I've got my band, and we're also going to be using the wall for support. So when you're ready, my friends, we're going to be working sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. So if you'd like to use your chair, just make sure, okay, it's nice and secure if you're likely to come back down heavily in it. So you can always put it against the wall. Now, if you're not using that chair, and if you're using your dumbbells, just take them top of those thighs, and we're going to use the weight to make this progression a little bit more challenging. You don't need the weights at all if you don't want to use them. So we're going to aim for somewhere between 10 and 15. I'm going to go 10. It's up to you. Remember, we want the last 2 repetitions challenging. Good. Now, if you want to actually do it from a sitting position, okay, take those weights again to the top of the thigh, press into those heels. Good. So we can use the chair to sit back down if you're not sure. Okay. Now we're really controlling that movement down. Excellent. And it's harder than body weight squats because we've got a couple of extra kilos. So of course we don't have to sit down. We can just leave those weights there, but make sure those heels are down and we're not falling over the top of those weights. Okay, I think this is my number 10. Just going to move those feet. How was that, guys? Good. Okay. So we're going to grab your resistance band. We're going to do a little bit of upper back work. So we're going to start with a nice simple one. Hands facing upwards. Thumb over the top of the band. You've done this before. So we're just going to take that nice position, long spine, soften those knees, shoulders relax. We're going to draw that band apart, and then we're going to squeeze those elbows behind us. So I'm going to aim for 10. You're somewhere between 10 and 15. Breathing out. So as you draw backwards, draw those shoulder blades together. Squeeze those elbows behind you. Keep those shoulders drawn away from the ears. So we're really trying to activate those muscles around the scapula. Good. Breathe out. I think that's 5 for me. So make sure, I like to breathe out on every repetition if I can. That's why I talk so much. Because it means I just don't hold my breath. We don't want to be holding your breath. It can really sort of, if you hold your breath, it can shoot your blood pressure up. So that's why we really focus on that, pushing that breath out. Good. So we got one more, okay? Oh, if you're doing 15, you might have a couple more. Now, if you're finding that number 7, number 8 are the challenging ones, just do sets of 8. It's fine. Listen into what's going on with your body. We want the challenge for the body to change. Now, we're going to go into backward lunge. So this is quite cruel. I've got all the worst leg strength in one go. So I've got my wall for support, standing nice and tall, feet hip width apart. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take a couple of smaller ones. We're just testing out our balance, testing out our knees. If the knee doesn't like this, we're just going to keep them very small, or we might go back to squats, okay? Or something totally different. When you've got your range, we're going to do 10. Pushing up into that heel. If you don't need that wall for balance, you can just leave those hands by the side. You can take them here, wherever you like. Now, some of you might like to use those weights, but we want to make sure that you're steady and you're balanced. We want that technique to be tip-top before we add that weight progression. So I've got 3 more. 2, that's it. Really push into that heel. Activate those glutes. So that back knee is in line with that back hip. We're going to walk it out. We're going to change sides. Okay? So when you're ready, we'll just have a little play around with that position. Just find the range that is right for you. Notice your balance. And then we're going to do a set of 10 or 15. Could be 12. As I said, it could be 8. Good. So there's feet hip width apart. Long spine. Great stuff, guys. Okay, you can use those arms if you need it. Use that wall. We want to see that nice strong trunk. Okay, I think I've got 3. Count your own, guys. Really drive it up. Drive up through that heel. Walk it out. Whew, that's got my breath going. Great stuff. So squats, working glutes, thighs. Lunges, the same. But you need a bit of flexibility in the hips. Upper back, working those shoulders and the upper back. Let's do the wall press. So we're doing chest, triceps, shoulders. Let's go for it. So hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Now, keep pressing. Some of you will remember that because this isn't a cardiovascular one, if you wanted to progress your press-ups to on the floor, the first progression would be a kneeling position. So I've got a really soft carpet here. You would need a mat, a rolled up towel to put underneath your knees so you're not going to hurt those knees. Now this is a possibility. Exactly the same movement, okay? But a little bit more gravity at work. I'm going to stick with the wall presses. Okay, when we've done our 10, we're going to bring it away from the wall. Just roll those shoulders. Now, back to those squats. If you need a little drink before the next set, do it now. I'm going to do this set without my weights, okay? Because I found I just wanted to work on my technique a little bit more. So, pushing that bottom either towards the back of the chair or the imaginary back of the chair if we're doing it here. Good. And squeezing that bottom at the end of it. So we tend to do this sometimes. We sort of hover a little bit. So squeeze that bottom, lift that chest at the end of it, okay? That's good. Really finish that move off. Squeeze the bottom, slide those shoulder blades down the back at the end of the move. Good. That's great, guys. So if you did it with weights the first time and you did 10, if you're doing it without weight, you might choose to do a few more repetitions the second time. Good. All right, we are cooking on gas. Well done, guys. Just keep that chest lifted. Try not to do the old not bending the knees and hips. Good. Okay, I think we got one more. Well, I have anyway. And just move those feet at the end of it. So, brilliant exercise. Relates to almost everything we do. If you're picking up things, going up steps, just everything. Squats are brilliant. Upper back strength. Now I'm going to give you a progression. If you don't want to do the progression, come back to the one we did the first time. If you're comfortable, palms down. We're going to take this band a little bit wider. Now relax those shoulders away from the ears. Relax your grip on the band. Okay? Not too high with those arms. We don't want them here. Chest level. Now, draw that chin to the back of the neck. We're going to open up that band, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep those wrists nice and strong. Good. Now, you might find you can't do as many of these. It actually makes sense to breathe in as you open, but I still have to breathe out. Good. Really watch for that, okay? Keep that chin drawn in. Okay, keep those arms low. Don't let them creep up. I think this is going to be my last one. And I'm going to release. If you want to do your 10, that's fine. As I said, this upper body wasn't made for lots of heavy work. All right then, so that's our upper back work. What we had there was a little bit of chest, strength and flexibility at the same time as well. Now, lunge. Now we've got the backward lunge. I am going to introduce a new type of lunge today. It is up to you. If you're unsure about your knees, if you're unsure about it, stick with the backward lunge. So we want our wall. This time we're going to be stepping forwards. So we're going to take a small step forwards, put that heel down, and we're taking the weight down into that heel. Now this is my half lunge movement. Okay, so this is a really useful movement. We want to keep that trunk nice and strong. Only if you feel, oh, yeah, that was okay, are we going to take it into that full movement. It's exactly the same position. Okay, we're going to try 8 on each leg of these. All right, if you prefer, though, go back to the backward lunge. Are we ready? So I'm going to use that wall for support, so I'm not wobbling. Good. So weight down through the heel of that front foot, pushing it back up. Remember, we can make it smaller and gradually build this range. Smaller and gradually build. Lovely. So again, this is related to coming off the floor. Brilliant. Excellent. I think I've got 3 more, but I may have less. Brilliant. Good. What we don't want to do is come over the front of the foot with that front leg so the heel comes off the floor. It has to be through the back of the foot. Lovely. Okay, we're going to change legs. I'm boiling hot. I've got a thermal on, no wonder. All right then, so again, we're just going to play around with that position. Play around with that position. So there's lots of different variations of lunges. And I'm always really careful to avoid this one till we've built the strength and the technique of the other one. Good. So when you're ready, we can do our 8. You can have those arms wherever you like for balance. Keep that chest lifted. Brilliant. Remember, it can be here. Could even be here. Okay. Brilliant. Okay, when you've done your 8 to 10, walk it out, friends. Back to that wall press. Those of you that feel comfortable or want to progress, remember that kneeling one. Make sure you can do that before you progress with those knees behind you, okay? Let's go. So that nose popping over the top of the fingertips. I'm going to move my feet backwards to make this more challenging. What you will have to do then is just slide the hands down marginally. Keep that chin drawn to the back of the neck. Shoulders away from the ears. Okay, when we've done our 10, our 15, we're going to come away from the wall, tap it out. Ooh, we're sort of halfway through already. So if you want to have a drink, where have I put my drink? Have a drink now, and we're going to move on to the next section. Now, what are we going to need? We're going to need one of your weights. Now, I'm not going to use my heavy weight. I'm going to use my tin. And we're going to do a little Russian twist move. We're going to do 2 different versions. Okay? Not a million miles away from the wood shop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand against the wall, and I'm just going to soften those knees a little bit. Just be aware if you're arching your back. So you might need to just draw that tummy button in. Relax the shoulders, and I'm going to show you the movement from this angle. So we're basically going to keep those hips facing forwards, and we're just going to turn one way, as if you were handing that tin to someone else, but you were buried in sand up to the waist. Okay? So let's see if we can do it. We're just going to take a little movement this way. Come back to center. It's really nice and smooth. Good. Okay. So we used to do this in the leisure center with the ball. I don't know if you remember that. So we just used to tap. But if you can't get to the wall, which I definitely can't in this position because I'm not moving my hips, we're just keeping that tummy button drawn in. So drawing that corset. Excellent. So we're working on this rotational ability of the waist. Good. So we don't want to push it too far. Make that range smaller if you need to. Keep drawing that tummy button in. Lovely. Okay. Should we do one more either side? That's it. Lovely. So we've got those elbows bent. We don't want that weight sort of pulling us forwards. Draw those shoulder blades down, and we're going to step it away from the wall. Now we need our other weight. So I'm going to grab my other tin, keeping my back nice and straight. I'm going to take that nice position. So feet hip width apart, soft knees, just really long spine, tighten that corset. So W position. We're just going to start with that alternate shoulder press. So we can have the palms facing forwards, or if the shoulders aren't that flexible, then we can just turn them in. Good. All right, so we're going to do a few alternate just to get that range. Now, if you feel comfortable, we're going to go double. Breathing out. Lovely. Watch out for pushing that pelvis forwards as the arms comes up to really tighten that corset as we push up. Good. That's it. Breathing out. Breathing in. Excellent. Breathing out. Keep that chin parallel to the floor. Slowly down. Control that movement down. Excellent, guys. Right, I've totally lost count. Can you shout to me? Okay, I'm going to do 2 more. But if you've reached your limit, you stop now. Or if you haven't reached your limit, just do a couple more till you have. All right then, roll those shoulders. Roll those shoulders. We have got a bit of core work. Now, those of you whose balance is good, you may not need some support. Those of you who maybe aren't sure, just use that wall for support just in case. Now we are going to work on the stomach muscles and your core, very deep core muscles. Now, all I'm going to do is take a slow knee lift. slower than you think possible, okay? And then slowly back down. Now, what tends to happen, normally we use momentum and we place it down, but it's momentum is movement. So we want no movement in this trunk. Set that corset. Imagine it's so tight, you definitely can't move. Slowly up, slowly as you can back down. Now imagine you've got a cup of tea on top of your head and we don't want to spit a drop. It's been overfilled. So we really need to stay still. Good. Now, if that's not challenging enough, we're going to take that W position that we did earlier and we're going to bring that shoulder towards the knee. So we're almost taking it's almost like a standing crunch, but we're not really curving that spine. Keep drawing that tummy button in. Keep breathing out. Now, the higher the hands are, the more challenging this becomes. Oh. I'm going to bring him down. Good. Oh, I'm so sorry. Last thing you need on a rainy Thursday morning is me grunting. Should we do one more either side or is that enough? Oh, one more. Oh, draw that tummy button in. So the slower the movement, the more challenging it is, okay? We're not allowing momentum or movement to make it easier. Oh, let's take a few little hip circles, shall we? Right then, on to the easy one, the lat pull down. So we are going to work these big muscles in our upper back, okay? So let's see if we can again soften those knees. We're going to bring these arms up and down. So I like to do a little bit of flexibility work before we move into this movement. So we got those palms facing forwards. The band is just across the palm of your hand like that. And as you breathe out or breathe in, whatever you prefer, we're going to draw those shoulder blades down the back. We're not going to poke that chin forwards. So let's just draw those shoulder blades down. We're leading with the backs of those hands and back down. Now, this could be your limit here. That's fine. We can still do the movement. So when you're ready, we're going to bring up to your range, to your maximum. We're going to draw that band apart, squeeze the elbows down towards the knees, and then we're going to bring it back up. Good. Squeeze, and then push that band back up as far as your range. Good. If you want to make it harder, bring the hands narrower, okay? Squeeze down. Keeping that chin drawn to the back of the neck. Breathing out. Don't let that band snap back into place. Good. So when you've had your 10 or your 15 or your 8, oh, this is my last one. Roll those shoulders. Okay, let's repeat those exercises, shall we? So I'm going to pop the band down. I'm going to pick up my tin. This time, we're just going to take the Russian twist slightly differently. So we still got that wall for support, but we're going to allow these hips to turn a little bit more. So I'm going to turn my feet ever so slightly outwards, slightly wider with these feet. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're not totally against the wall, but you can just sense your shoulder blades there. All right, slight softness in those knees. And as we rotate those hips, we're going to take that heel away from the floor, come back to center. Good, draw that tummy button in. Excellent. So if you're in a gym environment, this worked really well with a sort of resistance band, pulling it across, or a cable. But we'll just use one of our weights. When we're at home, we've just got to adapt. Good. Excellent. Nice relaxed shoulders. Lovely. Okay. Really similar to that wood chop, just slightly different movement. Great stuff. Mike, this is going to help with that double-handed backhand. Okay. Should we take one more either side? Let's do it. Good. Don't forget to just turn at those hips, okay? Bring it back in. Walk those feet back in, and we're going to take our weight. So I'm feeling like I could increase my weight now. I think I can do 15 with a lightweight quite easily. I can't, but I'm just pretending. Okay, so I progressed a slightly heavier weight. So are we ready? I'm going to start 2 hands together, but you can do alternate if you prefer. All right, let's go. Don't forget to breathe out. Great stuff. So remember, it's always slowly back down. So we tend to just let the arms fall down, but we're losing a strength building opportunity if you do that. Do you like that? Yeah. Breathing out. Great. So really slide those shoulder blades down on the way back down. Not overreaching. Watch out for pushing that tummy forwards. Good. So I think we got 2 more. I think. Was it anywhere near 10, my friends? Breathe out, bring it in. Whew. Great. So you might now be thinking, oh, I can feel my shoulders have been working because we've used them in a lot. Now, it's that core knee lift again. Core knee lift. So should we see if we can do 5 each leg, maybe a few more. All right. So when you're ready, we're going to see if we can slowly. So you're thinking in terms of bringing, oh, I forgot to tell you, same leg, same shoulder, okay? Breathing out, breathing in. Draw that tummy button. We're keeping that chest lifted at the end. Good. So we're actually still keeping that long spine. Okay, let's do a couple more this leg. Oh, slowly down. Remember that cup of tea? Draw that tummy button in. Should we do the other leg now? I'm going to show you from this angle what it looks like. So we're coming here. It's much harder to do it without looking. Good. So I'm not leaning forwards like that. That's good. Excellent. Okay. Now it's too hard. Oh, I'm cheating when I do it like that. Good. That was too fast for me. Slower, Taggy. Great stuff. 2 more? Do you reckon you can do 2 more? Draw that tummy button in. And again. I don't know if you found that as hard as me, but that was hard work. All right then. Oh, last one. I have got one more thing we're going to do then. So it's not really the last one. Penultimate one. Lat pull down. Let's go for it. So we should be nicely warmed up in that shoulder area now. Ready to do this. I'm going to draw those hands apart. Squeeze those elbows down. Now, we used to do this, which is fine. Okay, you can take it behind. But what happens in 9 times out of 10 people is you jut your chin forward to get the band behind you. So I'm a big fan of just taking it in front of the nose, pushing up, getting that resistance, squeeze. At the end of the day, it's all about function. Okay, we're not bodybuilding. Breathing out, breathing in. Good. Breathing out and breathing in. Good. Breathing out and in and again and breathing in. Lovely. Okay, I think this is my last one. You find your last repetition and we're just going to roll it out. Okay. So we haven't done this one for a while. I'm thinking about our lower back. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of back strength. So we're going to do a little bit of glute strength standing at the same time, and it will help with the back. So what I'm going to get us to do before we do anything else is we're going to take that sort of hip width apart position, and we're going to, as if we were going into that deadlift position that we've been doing, not today. And what we're going to do is just tilt. Imagine you've got a tail behind you, okay, like a dog, and we're going to become a sad dog. So we're going to tilt this pelvis, so you're pushing that tail between your knees. What we're getting here is a really nice stretch for that lower back. Now, if you wanted to increase, we draw that spine up to the ceiling at the same time. So this is what I call my standing cat stretch. Okay, so we're an angry cat. And we may not be a happy cat, but we're a, content cat now. So we're going to do one more of those little curls, and then we're going to walk the hands back up the spine. So if you get a stiff lower back, particularly if you've been gardening a lot, that's a lovely, lovely movement to loosen it off. Okay, you're just basically opening up the spaces in the vertebra in your lower back. All right, now we are going to see if we can use this wall. We're going to take a little squeeze of that foot behind us. So I flex my foot rather than pointed it so that I'm not affected by the floor. So I'm just going to squeeze this bottom, squeeze this leg behind me. Okay, so we're using the bottom muscles, but we're also working on those upper back muscles. Excellent. Now, if you wanted to make this a little bit more challenging, what we're going to do, same arm, same leg, just gently rising up. Good. We'll get a little bit more back work. Excellent. So it's like a standing Superman, Val. Good. We're going to do 10 on each side. When you've done 10 on this side, I like to actually have the side that's supporting closest to the wall. So we're standing nice and tall. Good. And then we've got plenty of space not to knock. So just start with that leg. Get used to that little squeeze. Okay. Try not to lean forwards as you do that. Try not to lean backwards. And then we're going to add that arm raise. Good. And again, it's nice and slow and controlled. Squeeze, breathe out, breathe in. Good. Squeeze. Draw that shoulder blade down the back as the arm comes up. Draw that tummy button in. And again. We're going to take one more and bring it in. Good. And then we just shake it out. Oh, time for a cool down. Time for a cool down. So a couple of different things today. I think it's really important just to throw in different things. If there's something you thought, oh, she didn't do this, I've missed it. Okay, be my guest. You can do it now while everyone's having a drink or come for a break. And what I'm going to do is just take you through some stretches now. So when we contract the muscles, okay, they get shorter. And we lengthen them under tension, but if we don't stretch them out at the end, they can get very tight. So that's why we like to stretch the muscles out after a strength session. You all right this side? Has he been there the whole time? I didn't notice him come in. I need more coffee, definitely. All right then, let's start with the calf stretch. So remember this movement. It's that nice long line, heel, hip, shoulder. I'm going to do mine against the wall. And I'm going to make sure that my heel is directly behind that big toe. So it's as if we've got a parallel line with this back foot. Okay, it's not turned outwards. 12 o'clock with the big toe, 6 o'clock with the heel. Good. We're just going to breathe out. And as we come out of it, just slowly bring that heel up. Okay, we don't want to jolt with these stretches. Slowly in. Slowly out. Same on the other side. So I do like to use the walk. Just makes it easier. You can get a really good stretch just from the tension pressing against. Excellent. And 15 seconds, about our minimum hold. But if you find it hard to hold it for that long, just build up to it. It's like everything. There's no hard, fast rule. What people do is they will publish the guidelines, the optimum time, but it's best to do a little bit than none of it. Now let's see if we can take a little reach up. Good. Bring it down. Little reach up and bring it down. And then we're going to walk this hand over the shoulder. So it's that big pat on the back. Good. It's that pat on the back. We're going to keep that chest lifted, looking straight ahead. We're going to take the hand onto that fleshier part of the arm, gently push that elbow to the ceiling. Great stuff. So we'll breathe out while we're doing that. It really helps. And this is so good for shoulder flexibility. If you think in terms of, brushing, washing your hair, reaching to the back of your neck, it is the stretch. Now we're going to reach up, we're going to relax this arm, and we're going to lift that rib cage gently out of those hips and get that stretch. So that lat pull down, all that work we were doing around the waist area, stretching those muscles out, and then we just roll those shoulders. Good stuff. Let's do it again. Yes. Which one's first? This one. Of course, you don't have to walk the hand over. If you find it easy, you can just reach over that back, whatever works for you. Okay, we're all very different, but this hand just here really helps. It's called an assisted stretch. So it really helps you just get a slightly deeper range. Good stuff. Breathe out, my friends. And then breathe in. And relax those shoulders. And as you breathe out, just make sure both feet firmly in contact with the floor. Great stuff. Okay, bring it back. Bring it down. Let's shake it out a bit. Let's shake it out a bit. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to see if we can take that back of the thigh movement. So I'll do it facing you just to start off with. Very small steps. You can see my heels in line with the toe of the back foot. And then I'm just going to gently bend that back leg and almost hinging at the hips. So nice long spine. Keeping those hips square on, chin drawn to the back of the neck. Good stuff. And then if you feel comfortable, we can take it a little bit deeper. Breathe out. And then gently again come out of it. And then the same on the other side. So remember, you can do this seated if you prefer. I do prefer, but I've covered my chair in bits and bobs. Excellent. And breathing out. Good stuff. It's really nice when you're doing the stretches, just to be aware of where you might be a little bit tighter, where there's difficulty. And it's something that you might think, oh, I'm a bit tight there, I'm going to work on that. But remember, if you are going to work on flexibility, your muscles need to be warm. Okay, so it's always worth having a little walk or a movement first before we try and stretch the muscles. All right, what's next? Chest. So we did a little bit of work on this earlier. So we're just going to imagine that you're about to give me a massive hug. Okay, open out those arms and then relax the shoulders. Okay, we're going to just bring these arms in, drop that chin gently towards the chest. We're going to open again, relax those shoulders. So you can feel this stretch here. Draw that chin to the back of the neck. Turn those palms so they're facing down and slide those shoulder blades down. Slide those arms behind you. If you can hold on to those fingers, great. If not, just squeeze those shoulder blades together. Keep that chin drawn to the back of the neck. Open out those shoulders. And as you do that, see if you can squeeze those arms upwards. And then when you feel ready, release. Just let those arms swing. Just let those shoulders go. Excellent. All right, so let's finish off with hip flexors and quads, shall we? So hip flexors here, they with the quads bring this movement in, but these are the ones, if you find that lunge movement, you can't get that knee back, these are the ones that might need some flexibility work. So hold on to the wall. I'm going to get you just to look down at the floor in front of you and take that big step behind you. Now, we're not taking the heel to the floor like in this calf stretch, but what I'm going to get you to do now is just soften those knees a little bit, lift the chest, and you'll feel that stretch here. Now, if you're not feeling that stretch here, what we're going to do is bend that back knee a little bit, then lift that chest, and you should feel it. Or we can just take that foot back a little bit further. So we're just going to feel that lovely stretch there. Relax the shoulders, straighten up those legs, bring it back in, move those feet. Let's do the same on the other side. Good. So feet hip width apart, generous step. This isn't generous, this is really generous. And again, so we're just looking towards that floor, taking that foot behind you and lifting that chest. Just by lifting the chest and gently pushing this hip forwards, you'll get that knee bend. But if you want to increase, just bend those knees slightly and then lift. Oh, beautiful stretch. And then when you feel ready, just Gently come out of it, move those feet. Oh. So if you do a lot of driving or do things where you're sitting down a lot, those hip flexors are likely to be tight. So again, if you walk, just see if you can do a little bit of a stretch of the calf muscles at the end and add that hip flexor in. So should we do the front of these thighs? Let's do it. I've gone into position already. Just remember, shoulders relaxed, chest lifted, knee pointing down towards the floor. Breathe out. And then we're going to release. And we'll do the same on the other side. And remember, you can use a towel around the bottom of the legs. You can use this chair. You can just stand like this, or we can use that hand to hold on to either the sock, back of the trainer, or the front of that trainer. Good. And then we're going to release again. All right, we're almost done. Shall we finish off with, let's finish off with our breath of joy. Joy that the garden is getting such a good water. Not so joy that my new plants are practically blown apart. All right, so we're going to breathe in and breathe out. Relax those shoulders down on that breath out. We're going to take that lovely and should we take one more? One more. And fantastic. Give those hands a little shake, toes a little tap. Round of applause for my friends who are functionally strong. Right now, I'm getting really close so I can see. Oh yeah, definitely time to do a workout inside, isn't it? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. So I think we've got these online classes continuing for a while. Just things are uncertain. So as things open up indoors, things will just carry on here until we're certain that we can just stay in and outdoors. So see you next week. Be good.